this is suicidal.
You have to have an APU in order to survive as a long-haul trucker today.
We just got our 7 brand new Freightliner Cascadias. These are the 2026 models, and every single one of these units are going to be installed with the Carrier APU unit. So why in the world do I spend about $16,000 per unit? Well, we're gonna be talking about number 1, the install process. Number 2, we're gonna talk about the benefits of having an APU unit from our Red Seal mechanic. Number 3, we're gonna get into not only the fuel consumption and how much money you're saving on fuel, but also how much money you're saving on repairs and maintenance and the longevity of these trucks with an APU unit versus without an APU unit. Number 4, we're going to talk about analytics and stats, and you're going to see comparisons of a truck with an APU unit versus a truck without an APU unit, and you'll see their fuel consumption. And number 5, I'll talk about how you can get the government to pay 50% of these APU units just like I do. Now let's get into it. All right guys, there's 2 in the shop right now getting an install. Let's have a look. You know what? Let's go inside.
Just off the top of your head that, you know, with the APU, obviously the idling and...
Yeah, you don't have to idle that thing. You also have driver comfort. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're not idling this and it's minus 20 outside, you know, here in, you know, in Toronto, or if it's 95 and you're in California, you know, you got to be comfortable. So whether you're running the tractor or whether you're running the APU, what would you rather do? Run a 2-cylinder engine or a V6 that's guzzling, you know, 8 gallons an hour, as opposed to like, you know, less than a half a gallon an hour, right? As a technician, you would know just idling an engine is probably the worst thing you could do for the tractor, because now the inefficiency and you're not getting the engine and the exhaust hot, which means your DPF system has issues down the road. Running the APU will save you from having to run the tractor engine, and you're burning less fuel doing it, but you're also now providing a lot of creature comforts for the driver. Right? Not just heating and air conditioning. They want to charge their cell phone. They want to charge their laptop. They want to watch a TV or, you know, DVD player. They have the ability to run small household electronic off of the APU generator, as opposed to not having that ability or trying to park in a location that has hotel power.
Alex, mechanically, so after 4 or 5 years, what's the difference between a truck that has an APU unit or a truck that doesn't have an APU unit?
So basically, the 2 main things that you have with the APU or without the APU is the wear and tear of the entire components of the engine, like the pistons, the rings, the valves, the valve seats that wearing out because not enough heat going through. When you are idling, you're idling on low RPM, so no oil pressure, so all the combustions and everything getting wear. You have more and more capability to damage the filters and the emission system.
So every time we look at used units, you always probably look at the hours. Why the hours? Why are you so concentrated on these hours?
Because then we know how long the truck was idling. When you run, the hours going towards the kilometers. But if you have so much difference between the hours and the idling, so something is wrong.
Some of the other benefits of the APU are it has its own alternator. So when that engine runs for the APU, we're also charging the batteries for the truck. So in the event that, you know, sometimes it happens, driver leaves the fridge on, leaves the main power on, they don't disconnect, and the fridge kills the batteries over a weekend. It's much easier to start this small 2-cylinder engine as opposed to a tractor engine, which means you can start that engine. It's got its own alternator. It can help charge up the batteries.
We're doing that.
Yeah,
we're doing that. When the driver has a problem to start the unit, we tell them, turn on the APU. Yep. 15-20 minutes, and boom, you can start the truck.
Because a lot of the times for the starting of the tractor, it's cold oil, cold coolant. It takes a lot of power to start that engine. Then it takes a while for that driver to get that engine warm up before they can leave. If you run this APU, you can set it up on a timer. You can set this APU to start up an hour before the driver leaves, which means you've got an hour time of warming up the coolant. It may not get up to operating temperature, but you're going to warm that engine, which means you're warming the oil as well, which means for a way easier start. And in addition, the tractor's ready to go as soon as you start it.
Just a quick 1 minute. What's the difference between this unit and that unit over there?
The unit that's here is called a Comfort Pro. This is the same design that's kind of been in use for the past number of years. The unit that's over there is called the Aspen. It's the new version of the Comfort Pro. It's basically an updated version, so different electronics, some features that are the same, some things that are a little bit different.
I have a question. So, with this machine, can we do everything at our shop?
No, we can service it. Yeah.
Everything we can do in our shop?
Yeah, only to read the codes. We cannot read the codes. We cannot connect to the unit.
Yeah, serviceability wise, I mean, you know, it's no different than
Regular engine.
you know, any other engine, any other diesel engine. There's regular intervals you do, oil filter, fuel filter, air filter, you know, regular servicing.
Everything is smaller.
Self-adjusting belt, so there's no need to try and adjust belts. It's got an auto tensioner.
Oh, this is a new feature.
Yeah. The benefits of the Comfort Pro or Aspen or APU, it's a necessity today, as opposed to 30 years ago when nobody cared. They idled their tractor engine to stay warm overnight. Now you have no other choice. Anti-idling laws, a lot of tractor manufacturers are taking into account, so you can only idle for 5 minutes before it's going to shut down. You have to have an APU in order to survive as a long-haul trucker today. There's no way you're going to get around it.
Our perspective of the shop, we're doing less rebuild engines than before. Before, drivers was idling the truck, the wear and tear go, you need to rebuild the engine.
For sure.
Boom.
No doubt.
Today, no. The engine shut down, you cannot idle the truck, no wear and tear, you have the emission controls, you have all the new features here, so less cost, less repairs.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
All right, so it's time for some analytics, all right? Do you guys remember the 2025 Freightliner Cascadias that I bought? They had the diesel APU units from Carrier on them. I think we purchased a total of 7, 8, or 9 trucks with all of them. We put the diesel APU units on them. So today I'm going to show you the stats, those analytics of how efficient those trucks are. And then I'm also going to show you the ones without APU units, just so you can see the comparison of how much idling, how much we actually save, and then we'll run some numbers and we'll actually crunch what does that actually mean on monthly savings. So here we have the 2025 Freightliner Cascadias, and they all have these diesel APU units. Now here you have the most fuel efficient to the least fuel efficient. You can see that the least fuel efficient of my trucks is 7.4 miles per gallon, and the most fuel efficient is 8.4 miles per gallon. But what I like to see is the numbers over here on the right hand side. Now there should be absolutely no reason why a truck with a diesel APU unit, why they would idle more than 5%. We usually like to keep them between 1 to 2% of the time. And this is for the full 30 days. There should be no reason why these trucks are idling. Here we have unit number 1, which is most fuel efficient. He's running at 4.8% of the time. So over the last 30 days, he did 11 hours of idling. You say to yourself, okay, 11 hours of idling is really not much at all. Then you have somebody that did only 2%. And you might say to yourself, you know, maybe these guys are not driving, but they're actually driving. The first guy drove 12,200 miles in 30 days. The second guy drove 11,600 miles. The third one drove 11,900 miles. You can see that all of our trucks with these diesel APU units, they're putting in the miles every single month. They're actually much higher than our averages. Our average is about 11.2, 11.3. How many miles in a month? These ones are getting 11.6, 12, 11.9. You can see the mileages over here. And the 3.1%, 2.2% for idling, 4.8% for idling. So this guy over here, the highest one at 6.6%, he's actually going to get a phone call from me right after this. And then there's one more that's idling over here at 13.7%. Now you can see here, not only did I spend approximately $16,000 machine, but the driver's not using it, okay? Because he's idling 25 hours. So I will give this driver a call right after this, and I will give him a verbal beatdown, because there's no reason why I'm spending $16,000 on something that he's not even using. So the safety team should be catching on to this. So these are trucks that have the APU units. I want you guys to see the trucks that don't have the APU units. So now I'm on a screen with highway trucks that are idling high. Okay, so here we have a unit number 674. You can see he idled 29 hours, not so bad. Here's a truck that idled 172 hours. Okay, so this is suicidal. Okay, this is how you end your career. This is how you end up going bankrupt. 172 hours of idling will put you out of business eventually. Now, either that engine is gonna go, the transmission, the injectors, the pistons. I mean, this thing is working nonstop. Not only is the driver driving, but also on top of that 172 hours throughout the month, he's idling that truck. 172 hours, or if you actually break it down, when I hover my mouse over, you can see that every single day he's wasting 10.4 gallons. And then the next day he's wasting 8.5 gallons. And the list goes on and on. So you can see here that in one day he spent 16.4 gallons. And then the following day, 15 gallons. So a day like this at 60, now his average is probably, I don't know, 9 hours of idling every single day. And just so you guys know, specifically with this driver, he actually got a phone call on April 23rd. He received a phone call, and then you can see that April 24th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, his idling is way down, and he's using either his battery pack or APU or his diesel. I don't know which one he has. Drivers that are idling their truck, just because some of them don't have a battery or diesel APU in it, but when you're wasting 10 gallons a night, multiply that by $4 per gallon, that's $40 a day, multiply that by about 25 days that you're on the road, that's literally $1,000 per month, and that's just the fuel. We're not talking about, you know, the wear and tear, the breakdowns, you know, how much longer that truck would have lasted you if you wouldn't idle 172 hours every single month. Now, these diesel APU units, I mean, even if you take that $16,000 and you divide that by, you know, 48 months or 60 months, you're still only looking at about $350 a month, literally, if you put zero money down. Imagine how much money you're also saving by not idling and the maintenance and repairs that are going to come in year 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And again, the resale value, I can do a whole, you know, video just on the resale value. When people see a diesel APU unit on a truck and they see the engine hours are half of what another guy's truck is, I am certain that it's a lot easier for me to sell my truck than it would be to sell a truck without a diesel APU unit, because I sell trucks and people are more inclined to take the trucks with the APU units on them. Okay, quick analytics. I mean, what does this mean over the course of a month? That's $1,000. What it means over the course of a year, that's $12,000. And what this means over the course of the 7 years that your truck is alive, maybe 6 years, let's say, that's still, you know, it's a $72,000 bill that you can take away with $16,000 of buying a diesel APU unit. That's my logic. That's why we do it. Now, the best part of all this, the government pays for half of this $16,000. And I'm going to talk about that right now. So in a nutshell, the government helps you as a carrier to retrofit your trucks or your trailers with more aerodynamic, and it's a green freight program for you to spend less money on fuel. You better believe that APU units, you know, help you save money on burning less fuel every single month, and that's why the government pays up to $10,000 and 50% of this bills. Now you can get up to $250,000. Now these APU units, like I said, it's up 50%. So basically my $16,000 APU unit, the government pays for half of it. So $8,000. I've done this for our company and I can help you do this for your company also if you need my help. All right, so in my first submission, remember those 2025 Cascadias that I bought? We installed the APU units. Now it's not just this. If you're looking to buy a Carrier Reefer unit that's hybrid, well guess what? 50% of that, the government is willing to give you back. So don't be shy. Feel free to reach out. All right, so you guys got the behind the scenes on why we purchased these APU units, why we install them with Carrier, how we do it, the reason behind it, the math behind it, and best of all, we only get to pay for half of it. And if you're thinking of installing one of these APU units and have a question, shoot me a message in the comments. I'm really responsive and I will respond to one of your comments. Now, if you're enjoying these behind the scenes footage, we are currently working on 2 other videos. One is a day in the life of a dispatcher and also a day in the life of a freight broker. So make sure you're part of this channel. I'm Ronan and I'll catch you in my next video.